Death toll in Plateau rises to 52 as suspects of attack are arrested. Relief for Lagos commuters as federal government reopens Independence Bridge. Supreme Court sets aside judgment. Recognize it. And on the foreign scene, Trump unveils $5 million gold card for wealthy Nigerian migrants, others. Good evening and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. The death toll in the attacks in 5 communities in Bokkos local government area of Plateau State on Wednesday has risen to 52, leaving families in mourning and survivors seeking refuge. Adomusa completes the report.
The attack came just 6 days after a similar assault in Ruwi community, where gunmen killed 10 people and injured 3 others during a wake-keep ceremony. Eyewitnesses say the attackers stormed the communities in the evening, firing indiscriminately. Houses were set ablaze, and 35 villagers fled into the surrounding bushes, leaving behind their belongings and, in many cases, loved ones. John Matom, a member of the Bokkos Cultural Development Council, said the devastation is overwhelming.
From 27th to the 2nd, in about 5 villages, the whole Mangar, Hoti, and the rest, we have lost a minimum of 52 individuals. 5 of them children who were burnt beyond recognition. The problem now is that these numbers cannot be adequately confirmed as we are still discovering dead bodies. So the minimum count is 52.
Reacting to the development, Brigadier General Gakchi Shipi, retired, acting coordinator of Operation Rainbow and special advisor to Governor Caleb Mutfan on security, confirmed that several suspects have been arrested in connection with the attacks.
For the past 2 days, we've had those attacks within the general area of Josho, Daho, and Manguna. And in the process, a lot of communities have been raised and some casualties have been recorded. The exact figures are not yet concluded because up till now we are still undertaking operations to determine the total extent of casualties. But we have definitely recorded some, and in a very gruesome manner for that matter. We've been unable to put our finger as to what gave rise to what has happened, but gladly the security agencies have made some very important arrests that are helping us to unveil what has gone wrong.
He further alleged that the perpetrators were attempting to instigate further violence in the state.
I said earlier that there was no form of provocation whatsoever that led to these attacks. So what first hit my mind with all the evidence before me is that there are some people that just instigated this for their own selfish reasons. We are all aware that there are people who benefit from insecurity. And I think the peace we've enjoyed all this time has put their business at a standstill.
The latest arrest may bring some relief, but the frequency of such attacks raises concerns about the effectiveness of security measures in preventing further bloodshed. Also speaking on the situation, the Plateau Youth Council called on residents to remain calm while security forces work to restore order.
It's quite emotional for people who have lost their loved ones and for us in the state generally, but we appeal to youths to be calm and to allow law enforcement agencies do their job. We will not be pushed to the point of breaking the law ourselves. We refuse to be intimidated by this kind of activities, and we will continue to be law-abiding.
While the call for calm is crucial, many residents remain skeptical, fearing that without decisive action, these attacks may continue to occur unchecked. Adomusa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Now joining us from Jos, Plateau State is Adomusa to give us an update on the situation. Good evening, Adomusa. Thank you for joining us on News Hour tonight.
Good evening.
Can you give us an update on the situation in the Bokkos local government area?
Well, at the moment, according to the state government and other security agencies that normalcy have been restored in the affected communities because more deployment of security personnel, including soldiers and police, have been made. And sources from the communities also confirm to Trust TV that normalcy has been restored in the communities, and security personnel have also been deployed to restore law and order. So this is what is happening at the moment.
So we see that the attackers have been arrested. Can that be confirmed?
Well, according to the special advisor to the governor on security, who confirmed that some suspects have been arrested, we try all we could to confirm this from either the Operation Safe Haven or the State Police Command. We couldn't get it because we went to the police commands. They refused to comment on the issue. We also went to Operation Safe Haven. They confirmed that there was such attack, but they are yet to confirm about the arrest. So we are still waiting. Probably tomorrow they will come up with those who have been arrested as already claimed by the state government. But the state government has come out clearly to confirm that some people have been arrested. Some people who are in connection with the attacks have been arrested, and then very soon they will also get to hear from them after their investigation.
The communities that this attack took place, how are the people, how are they reacting to this situation?
Well, people are not happy because you could see a lot of people being evacuated in vehicles, particularly the survivors. These are people who have been trying to see where they can also hide or where they will also get safety. We saw a lot of vehicles conveying them from the affected communities to IDPs to also other neighboring communities. So these people have also expressed worry. They say they find it difficult to understand why all this, because according to them, there hasn't been any provocation, particularly that has to do with either cattle rustling or farm destruction. But they were surprised to see what is happening at the moment. So honestly speaking, these people have expressed fear. They say that until government take, or rather security agencies take a kind of decisive action, this thing will continue to also linger in their memory, because most of them have already fled to other communities that are not affected. Some have also been moved to IDP camps. So a lot of people have expressed anger over what has happened in those areas.
All right, thank you so much, Ademusa, for that update on the situation in Bokkos local government area of Plateau State. Please stay safe. Moving on to other stories, gunmen attacked an 18-seater Benue Links transport bus on Thursday night, killing the driver and the front seat passenger while abducting others. The attack occurred at Ikobi near Otukpo as the bus traveled from Makurdi to Otukpo. Sources said the assailants let the kidnapped passengers into the bush, with only a few managing to escape. While the Otukpo local government chairman Maxwell Ugiri initially reported 5 abductions, Benue Links later confirmed 12 missing passengers. The attack came just hours after Governor Hyacinth earlier assured Otukpo residents of improved security following recent protests over rising insecurity. Ironically, the ambush happened shortly after his visit, leaving the community shaken. Joining us via phone call is Hope Abure, our reporter Daily Trust reporter actually in the state, to give us an update on the situation. Good evening, Hope Abure. Thank you for joining us on News Hour tonight.
Thank you. Good evening.
Can you give us an update on the situation?
Okay. Earlier today, we had a report about some passengers that were kidnapped on their way to Otukpo. But as we speak, in less than 10 minutes ago, the public relations officer of the police command in Benue released a statement saying that 14 passengers who were kidnapped, who were on board the Benue Links vehicle that was attacked, have been rescued successfully by the police in collaboration with members of the Benue State Civil Protection Guard.
Okay. So from what you just said now, we're having a discrepancy in numbers. First there was 5, then Benelux said 12, and now you're saying 14. So to take it that the government's number is the actual number of people that were abducted and then released?
Yes, but one of the victims reportedly died shortly after they were rescued from the injury inflicted on them by the kidnappers. So one of them, the PPRO stated that one of them was, as soon as he was taken to the hospital, was confirmed dead by the doctor.
This is aside from the driver and the front seat passenger who were shot on scene.
Yes, were the rescued passengers.
Okay. Okay. All right. So what's the government saying about this? Just earlier before this incident took place, apparently, the governor had said that he will do something about it, and then this happened. What steps have been taken by them to see that this is not doesn't reoccur again?
Well, incidentally, the governor himself, Governor Hyson Italia, was even in Otukpo yesterday. And this incident happened quite some few hours after his return from Otukpo. He had promised the people that government is doing everything to ensure that this incident does not repeat itself again. But the government is here to respond to this particular incident that has just happened.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Hope Abba, for that update on the situation happening in Benue State. Please stay safe.
Thank you.
Away from that, after weeks of inconvenience, Lagos residents can now breathe a sigh of relief as the federal government reopens the Independence Bridge following emergency repairs. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, officially declared the bridge open on Friday, restoring a vital link for thousands of commuters. Here's more in this report.
The emergency repairs became necessary because a structural failure had led to the collapse of the approach slab, which the minister attributes to faulty design. Now that the fault has been fixed, the Works Minister is stressing the need for strict adherence to construction standards to prevent similar incidents in the future.
For the closure in the first place, because the part of the approach slab caved in, and the construction of the approach slab ab initio was wrong because it was a cantilever, and the cantilever, in fact, it's not a cantilever. We can say it's a free supporting, approach slab, which should not be. Every approach slab must have one end fixed. That didn't happen. So the moment there was a leakage of the samfill, then the freestanding approach slab caved in, and so it became an emergency project, to be fixed. But the mistake that the controller made was that she did not notify us, and we didn't have enough announcements to let negotiants know the alternative routes.
Senator Umahi directed all federal controllers of works nationwide to ensure no road or bridge is shut down without express approval from the ministry. He stressed government's commitment to maintaining safety while minimizing disruptions.
Controller or engineer that wants to close road or wants to close bridge, you will give us, the drone study, for example, in Lagos, all the bridges in Lagos. And then you'll be able to let us know at that point of conflict where you are closing, what are the alternatives? And then you will state what is to be done on that place, And then you will state the technical problems and the technical solution. And then you will be able to put up all these exposures to the public. And so we will request for comments from the public. and tell them how long it is going to last. And so with this feedback, everybody is in the know. And then we'll be able to do that. And if we say we are going to do this work in 2 days, we will do it in 2 days.
Commuters, the reopening of the bridge is more than just an infrastructure fix. The past few weeks have been frustrating for commuters who hope the completion of the repairs will ease traffic congestion and reduce travel time.
The fact that it's been very, very inconvenient for a lot of Lagosians, but especially those of us that work on the island. In fact, days back, everybody could. In fact, the whole Lagos was like was a standstill because as a result of the closure of this place. But for them opening it now is a great relief, and I think it's a good one for Lagosians and the people, the commuters and the pedestrians passing through this place.
So it's very difficult because of the way people walk, and there is no motor to pass, all that. But since they already did everything like this now, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
The reopening of the Independence Bridge signals progress in the federal government's efforts to improve road infrastructure and public safety. With over 260 road projects underway across the country, the Ministry of Works continues its drive to deliver quality roads with minimal disruption to Nigeria.
Twin explosions suspected to be from grenades has killed one person and injured about 8 others at a scavenging site in Taiwo Street, Idiaraba community, Mushin local government area of Lagos State. Multiple sources in the community said the incident happened on Thursday. A witness, Jegede Taiwo, said the first explosion occurred around noon, killing a scavenger who was trying to break a metal that looked like a rocket. One person also sustained injury at the time. The second blast occurred around 5 p.m. Shehu Idris, a resident, said, adding that the incident raised a house close to the scavenging site. Idris said more people were injured during the second blast. The spokesperson for the State Lagos Police Command, Benjamin Hussein, is yet to comment on the incident.
This is bomb. This is for them that is a bomb. One of them, it explodes.
On political matters, the Labour Party has said Julius Abure remains its national chairman despite a Supreme Court ruling that sacked him from the position. The 5-member panel of the Supreme Court sacked Abure by setting aside the decision of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which had recognized him as the party's national chairman. The Apex Court said the case against Abure was an internal party problem and the Appellate Court lacked the jurisdiction to settle it. It emphasized that the judiciary lacks jurisdiction over party internal affairs, adding that the appeal filed was allowed, being meritorious. The Apex Court also pointed out that Abure's tenure had already expired, just as it dismissed the cross-appeal filed by the Abure faction of the Labour Party. Reacting, the National Policy Secretary of the Labour Party, Obiora, said the judgment favored Abure because only political parties could determine their leaders.
They did say, among many other things, that your tenure has expired. And when they went to the appeal court, that was the victory that you got at the appeal court. So when the Supreme Court overrules the appeal court, meaning that your tenure has expired, I mean, isn't that an open and short case in black and white?
There is no any tenure expiration because there was a convention, and that convention was legally constituted and conducted. The only issue, INEC didn't monitor it, and there is no law that says INEC must monitor. No. INEC we must. That is what they say.
Yeah, it says INEC. It said INEC shall.
Listen, the law says.
Yeah.
Party shall give INEC 21 days notice, which we have given them more than 21 days.
Yeah.
So as such, for someone to say there was no, they didn't recognize, that is their own thinking. And that was why the lower court, the high court, stated that no, INEC has no reason in the first place. And which, of course, even we are not even talking about court. No. We are talking now about who are the legitimate authority in the Labour Party. You see, my brother, what I am telling you is this: whatever happens, it has to come back to the Abure leadership, because it is only Abure leadership that can call for any meeting, no matter what, for anybody to recognize, because there shouldn't be any vacuum.
That was Umar Farouk speaking earlier on Daily Politics on the Labour Party crisis. Still on the Labour Party matter, the caucus in the House of Representatives has welcomed Friday's judgment of the Supreme Court, which removed Julius Abure as the national chairman of the party. The caucus noted that Abure's exit will bring stability and reinvention to the party. According to the caucus, the judgment is a timely counsel to leaders who play God in the affairs of men, particularly in a democracy. In a statement issued on Friday shortly after the Supreme Court pronouncement, the leader of the caucus, Alpha Morgane, described the development as a veritable tonic for the revitalization of the party that has been engulfed by leadership tussle in recent times. He commended the Apex Court for the judgment, stressing that the Labour Party can now experience a new lease of life. The Apex Court set aside the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which recognized Abure as the national chairman of the party. The National Judicial Council, NJC, has distanced itself from Justice Theophilus Nnamdi Nzeku's appointment as the acting Chief Judge of Imo State. The council, in a statement on Friday, said its attention was drawn to the news that Governor Hope Uzodinma had appointed Justice Nzeku, the fourth in the hierarchy of judges, as the state's Chief Judge. Governor Uzodinma based his action on a recent disciplinary action taken against the erstwhile Chief Judge of the state by the legal body. In the statement that was signed by its Deputy Director of Information, Kemi Ogedengbe, the NJC admitted that Governor Uzodinma earlier wrote a letter requesting its approval to appoint Justice Nzeku as the acting Chief Judge of the state, notwithstanding his position as the fourth in the line of seniority. Over in Cross River, the State House of Assembly has approved Governor Bassey Otu's request for an additional 2-week leave. During the plenary on Friday, lawmakers unanimously agreed to extend his absence, with Deputy Governor Peter Ode continuing in an acting capacity. Speaker Elvert Ayambem reaffirmed the Assembly's commitment to transparency and governance, emphasizing that their decision aligns with the state's best interests. He assured citizens that the House remains steadfast in upholding justice, accountability, and the well-being of Cross Riverians. A chieftain of the People's Democratic Party in Ebonyi State, Moses Idika, on Friday called on the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to commence an immediate investigation into the alleged involvement of some government officials recently arrested on the order of Governor Francis Nwifuru for contract racketeering. Idika, who made the appeal in a statement issued in Abuja, disclosed that a proper probe would save the state from embarrassment and future mismanagement. The PDP chieftain also urged other anti-graft agencies such as the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences ICPC Tribunal, as well as the Code of Conduct Bureau, to go after other suspected officials who may also be involved in flagrant violation of Ebonyi State procurement laws. The arrest also followed a report indicting the commissioners for subtly working against the government. The Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, on Friday debunked the claim by the suspended senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Oduahan, that he engaged former Governor Yahaya Bello to kill her as force and malicious. The clarification was made in a statement issued in Abuja by Akpabio's media aide, Eseme Eyibo. Akpoti-Oduahan made the allegation while addressing her supporters on Wednesday in Kogi. The embattled senator alleged that the Senate President sought the help of Bello to assassinate her in Kogi State rather than in Abuja, a claim that the state government has since debunked. Reacting on Friday, Akpabio said there was no iota of truth in her allegation, which he described as a deliberate smear campaign to make him look like a bad leader in the eye of the public. Akpabio similarly berated former lawmaker representing Adamawa North Senatorial District, Julius Abure, reiterating that he has no hand in his removal from the National Assembly, as claimed by Abure. Abure was sacked by a court of appeal sitting in Abuja on October 16, 2023. Two more stories. The Trump administration's 14% tariff on Nigerian exports threatens an already fragile trade relationship, raising costs and reducing market access. Nigerian exporters are looking to China for alternatives, as many experts say the country must move beyond raw exports and invest in value-added production to stay competitive. As Ibrahim Shehu reports, the challenge is whether Nigeria can adapt or risk falling further behind in global trade.
Like many African countries, Nigeria is on the firing line for U.S. tariffs, with the imposition of 14% tariff on export. Trade between Nigeria and the U.S. last year worth about $10 billion, which experts consider very low. Prior to the imposition of a 14% tariff by the Trump administration, many of Nigeria's exports to the United States benefited from the African Growth and Opportunity Act, which allowed eligible products from sub-Saharan African countries to enter the U.S. market duty-free. With American tariffs driving up the cost of crude oil and the Russian-Ukraine war affecting the global supply, the price of crude oil could impact Nigeria.
It's good we see ourselves in a positive light, but we are not yet maximizing our capacity to add value in that sense. So for now, we're just producing enough to sell, and any amount we produce, we will still sell.
Nigeria's crude oil production surged to 1.75 million barrels per day early this year, up from 1.5 million barrels per day in late 2024. With crude oil accounting for approximately 75% of total exports, exporters are already eyeing new markets, including China, which is turning to Nigerian raw materials and agricultural products to offset losses from American tariff.
China coming to Nigeria to seek or to buy our cocoa and sesame seed is a good thing for us. But if I am in position of policy making, I prefer to add the value to those products here, or invite those Chinese people, come to Nigeria, come and establish your factory here.
Analysts say the country could expand its exports, particularly in agriculture and processed goods, by taking advantage of government efforts to devalue the local currency, the naira, in order to attract foreign exchange and boost trade.
The devaluation currency actually have been a good one for exporters and myself. I export value-added agro products, processed food generally. That's what I export. I'm a merchant, meaning I don't have a factory. I have a number of SMEs that produce different products. So when I get contract from my buyer in Europe, I buy from different people and aggregate for export. And the devaluation has really helped, sincerely.
While ports in Lagos are bustling with activities, here in the capital Abuja, policymakers are grappling to leverage on this opportunity. Experts are calling for swift regulatory reforms and investment in infrastructure to ensure that Nigeria does not miss out on this global realignment. Experts say Nigeria could earn more money by adding to raw commodities. For instance, official statistics show that in 2023, it shipped nearly $670 million worth of cocoa beans, while chocolate exports were just over $27 million.
This for me is a good opportunity for us to really put our thinking cap and to invest heavily in the agricultural sector and export finished products. Instead of exporting raw cocoa, we should be exporting chocolate. Instead of exporting sesame, raw sesame, we can be exporting sesame oil or sesame butter. These are all areas that we just have to take advantage of, while the current face-off between the US and China and Canada and other countries is going on.
Soya beans exports are ever on the rise and are projected to jump from 7,000 metric tons last year to 212,000 metric tons this year. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, this is due to lower domestic consumption and higher export demand by Nigeria's non-genetically engineered beans.
Nigeria can increase its forex earning from soya beans alone. After all, we have a lot of deal with China to come and build in Nigeria, right? So we can say, China, look, why don't you pledge to buy at least $10 billion worth of soya beans from Nigeria? We will give you this amount of contract to construct in Nigeria. We have the agreement. Then we can go to work and produce agri-commodity en masse to sell to China. Because China demand is about 60%. Global demand is about 100. China alone is buying 60%.
China remains Nigeria's largest trading partner with a two-way trade of over $20 billion, according to the National Bureau for Statistics.
Foreign direct investment is a highly competitive thing. People will go to where they spend less and less hassle. So these things are affecting our capacity to export and the success of our products in the international market.
Nigeria exporters say they face tough competition from cheaper Chinese goods, raising concerns over whether these measures will be enough to safeguard local businesses. Ibrahim Shiu, Trust TV News, Abuja, Nigeria.
The biting economic situation in the country is forcing motorists to resort to using expired or second-hand tires, which the Federal Road Safety Commission (FRSC) says constitutes a critical road offence, while with offenders liable to a fine of 3,000 naira. The Commission also links many fatal accidents to tire bursts, advising motorists to check expiry dates before purchasing or using any tire. Ahmad Dati's report is presented from our studio.
According to the Sector Public Education Officer, Federal Road Safety Corps Kano Command, Abdullahi Labaran, the Commission is consistent with its commitment to creating safer motoring environment, always cautioning motorists against use of expired tires, which he added constitute critical road offense. Labaran said Section 10.4 of the Road Safety Act provides for imposition of a 3,000 naira fine on motorists using expired tires.
Our own angle as a road safety is concerned, it's one of the critical offenses or causes of fatal crashes in the country, because these expired tires, or Tokumbo tires as you call them, the rubber has already lost its elasticity because of time. The one bad thing about it, people just look at the just how nice the tire looks, but not without knowing that it has already expired, and there's a tendency at any given time it can blow out. That is why sometimes you see most of these accidents we normally have, the fatal accident along our highways are caused by this tire burst. And when we make research, we conduct our crash investigation. Mostly it is as a result of using expired tires.
Dauda Metaya, a dealer in new and second-hand tires, said customers prefer second-hand ones because they are relatively cheaper and they hardly look at expiring dates.
Sabanin yanzu yadda rayuwa ya riga dan canja, mutane da dama sun fi daukan tourists din akan sababbi.
Due to the current high cost of living, the majority of people prefer to buy old or used tires rather than new ones. Gambo Alkali said the prevailing economic realities in the country made him use second-hand tires instead of the new ones he bought every 2 years in the recent past.
Akwai poor economic environment.
The economy is so poor that most things are no longer affordable, so people mostly focus on providing food. Tires have become very expensive. In the past, I used to buy new tires every 2 years, but now I go for second-hand ones. Recently, I bought 2 used tires for 9,000 naira each. They were good quality, so that totaled about 18,000 naira. But you see, most people, especially the public transport drivers who should ideally be buying new tires because of how frequent they use them, nowadays they buy old ones due to economic hardship. Unfortunately, this could actually lead to road accidents. The lifespan of a tire is expected to be 5 years.
Mixed reactions have continued to trail the recently proposed bill by the Senate to give the traditional institution a constitutional mandate that would guarantee their mode of operation devoid of interference from other tiers of government. In Bauchi State, residents shared their thoughts on the matter and some of its possible intricacies if the bill becomes law. Trust Visa Damu Imam files in the report.
The senator representing Plateau South, Simon Lalon, and one other presented a bill recently to give traditional institutions constitutional backing in managing their affairs, while helping in addressing security challenges facing various communities in the country. Some residents expressed divergent views on what they describe as a welcome development.
In different aspects of social, economic, and defensive purposes. For instance, just as the traditional institution before the independence of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, they are the head of the native authorities, and they knew the problems of their peoples. And even before the British occupation of Nigeria, the whole country or the whole emirate was administered by the emirs as their head.
This is a good move, and once the traditional institution is being empowered, I believe all this issue of insurgency, criminality, and what have you will be less, because there will be check and balances, because under the traditional institutions, it is a well-coordinated institution that from the emir to the village head to the lowest person that is in control of each area, and whoever that comes into that area, he has to notify the Meangua of that area that he has a visitor or he is a visitor in his area.
Others who have different opinions say the initiative needs wider consultations before the consideration of the bill.
Simply go to maybe a place like Makodi and say you are having a town hall meeting, and you just talk to people, blah blah, academicians, the elites. They will give you very superficial stories that will not hold water. You have to go deep, find out from the people, from the villagers, how it all started. You go to the Igbo land, it's the same thing, where you have the autonomy groups and the rest. They revere their chiefs very, very much. So these things have to be taken into very, very serious consideration.
Governors have made it to become they made it to become a political affair, something. You know, at the time of campaign or what have you, all the other institutions will be afraid to attend social party, social candidate, because the fear of government, state government may embarrass them.
How sure are you that they will not clash with political leaders? For example, local government chairmen that have been elected. You want to give a traditional ruler now, constitutional, what kind of constitutional rule? Know that the traditional ruler is under the government. At the grassroots, the local government chairman. So in doing the constitutional rule for traditional ruler, we have to be very careful to make sure that we don't rush it. It's something that Nigerians have to be consulted widely, constitutional lawyers, different all stakeholders should be widely consulted.
They, however, urge the traditional institution not to use the advantage of the constitutional recognition to entrench impunity. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
An abandoned baby girl has been rescued after she was found near Niger Bridge in the Abeokuta area of Kogi State. A resident, Omera Ogbede Okpalua, who posted the video on Friday, said the child was found by one of the leaders of the community after he heard her crying at the riverside. The community leader said some baby clothes, a wrapper, and other items were also found at the scene. He added that the community will notify the local government authorities and take care of the baby until they can identify the mother. In Adamawa State, the State Executive Council, led by Governor Amadu Umaru Fintiri, has approved a 14 billion naira amendment to the 2025 budget to fund critical projects in infrastructure, education, agriculture, health, and environmental awareness. Speaking after the council meeting, Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Ilya James, clarified that the amendment is not a supplementary budget, but a realignment of existing allocations to reflect the administration's evolving priorities. The revised budget includes funding for major projects such as the construction of the Adamawa State International Conference Center, the upgrade of the State College of Agricultural Science and Technology, and the state's counterpart contribution to the Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project RAMP. Additionally, Commissioner for Health, Chief Felix Tangwami, cautioned residents about the risk of heat stroke and meningitis amid rising temperatures, urging the public to take preventive measures.
To also look into the case of upgrading College of Agricultural Science, the institution of the state, and also to deploy funds in order to cater for the project.
Heat strokes now causing people, causing untimely death for urgent death for people. Heat strokes. So if you have no business, stay indoor. When you go out for your daily living activities in the morning, the next of the remaining hours you spend it indoors. You can go out in the evening around 4:30 or so. And also people should avoid congestion.
The remains of a renowned Muslim cleric in Bauchi State, Imam Idris Abdulaziz Dusin Tanshi, has been laid to rest at the main Bauchi cemetery along Gombe Road amid tears from his immediate family and close associates. The deceased died at the age of 59 at his residence after he was discharged after a protracted illness from a hospital in India. Trust TV's Adamu Imam attended the funeral prayer and files in the report.
Thousands of Muslim faithfuls around Bauchi metropolis trooped en masse to the Gams village Eid ground where the funeral prayer of Imam Idris Dusan Tanshi took place. Shortly after the usual funeral prayers, brothers, friends and well-wishers escorted his remains to the Bauchi main cemetery where Malam was buried according to Islamic rites. Hundreds and thousands of Muslim faithfuls were in attendance at the graveyard to pay their last respect. So also special prayers were offered for the departed soul rest in perfect peace. Some of his students and close associates share their experiences through the teachings of Imam Idris Abdulaziz Dusan Tanshi. So Imam has answered the call to our Creator, God Almighty. Honestly, it appears that Imam Idris has done well during his preachings at different occasions in his lifetime. May God grant him eternal rest. We only offer prayers for his soul, that's what he needs now from us. Malam has gone now. People will realize what he was preaching then. Many will understand the importance of his Islamic preachings, and we pray for more imams like him that will continue from where he stopped. Our leaders should fear Allah, the Almighty.
So all innovations, bid'ahs, are exposed. You expose them more than any other person. Expose bid'ahs and reactivated sunnahs, traditions of the Prophet. They activated so many throughout the world. There were sunnahs we didn't know. He was the one who brought them, reactivated them, and he teaches by practice, by implementation. So this is his main difference with others. And then he didn't fear anybody in telling the truth.
His family members declined comment shortly after observing his funeral at the cemetery. Among those he left behind are his mother, 3 wives, as well as 32 children. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
On the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has unveiled the first gold card, a residency permit set to be sold for $5 million each. The high-priced visa, designed as an alternative to the traditional green card, aims to attract wealthy investors and job creators to the United States. Holding a prototype featuring his face and an inscription reading "The Trump Card," The Republican president expressed his enthusiasm for the initiative. Trump stated that the special visa would likely be available in less than 2 weeks. He has previously asserted that revenue generated from the program could be used to reduce the U.S. national deficit. As the ongoing Niger Delta Sports Festival enters Day 4, Akwa Ibom State athletes launched protest over unpaid allowances. The protest took place on Friday morning at the Decadent Skills Acquisition Center in Uyo. Akwa Ibom State is hosting the maiden sporting edition. Still in sports, the 32nd edition of Africa Women Volleyball Championship has kicked off in Abuja with teams across Africa competing for honors. Trust TV sports correspondent Adini Ajishafe has more.
The atmosphere at the Indoor Sports Hall of MK Abiola Stadium filled with music and fanfare as the national troops entertain sport enthusiasts to celebrate the unity of Nigeria. The incredible kids also perform incredibly with their dancing steps to welcome Africa to the FCT. The grand patron of the occasion, First Lady tinubu, while declaring open the event, harps on the reason behind the competition to unite all through sport.
To all participants, I encourage you to approach both victory and defeat with grace and dignity. You are all winners. To the winner, recognize that your success inspires countless young girls watching from the stands, from home, across Africa. The true essence of sportsmanship lies in how we conduct ourselves in both triumphant and challenging moments.
In his opening address, Comptroller General of Customs Adewale Adeniyi charged the women volleyballers to play for all the young girls to inspire them.
Volleyball teaches us lessons that transcend sports. It shows us that success comes not from avoiding falls, because we are going to see so many players falling down, but the courage to rise after each fall. It demonstrates how individual talents, when woven together through trust and teamwork, can create something far greater than the sums of their parts.
President, African Volleyball Confederation Kabir Botra Hajij appreciate the hospitality of Nigeria.
Your dedication to sport development is evident in the quality of facilities and in the commitment shown to making this championship success. Nigeria is known for its warm and vibrant hospitality, and I'm certain that every participant will leave Abuja with unforgettable memories. Thank you for your effort.
Nigerian Customs Service Volleyball Club filed up against Mayalkane Evolution Volleyball Club of Cameroon in earnest, with the Nigerian team winning 25-18 in the first set. A fierce game in the second set had Nigerian Customs and Mayalkane neck to neck, seeking for points before Nigerian Customs outsmarted the Evolutions to win 25-17. Fatigue and errors made the third set competitive as both teams picked points side by side almost to the end. Nigerian Customs great for glory and then the victory in 25-22 to the admiration of their fans. 16 teams in 4 groups from the 6 zones in African volleyball are vying for the coveted trophy. That's Sport News. I'm Adini.
That's it for News Hour tonight on Trust TV. For more of our news programs, documentaries, you will follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. On behalf of the news production team, thank you for joining us tonight on the news. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Good night.